Okay, so here we have a long overdue video of the Surger in action. What we have here is a tank that is approximately 100 gallons in total volume, but it's broken apart into 10 individual compartments. Each compartment is a slightly different size to increase the variability of the surge, and they're all fed by a hammerhead gold pump that comes up through this pipe here. It travels through this system. Each chamber has an individual valve on it so that the flow can be controlled to each chamber. Now, as it turns out, the hammerhead gold is actually only powerful enough to drive 5, maybe 6 of these chambers. So right now I've got several of the chambers just valved off, and the rest, as you can see, are going. They're filling up and then emptying out. The basic construction follows the work of Dr. Bruce Carlson, the so-called Carlson surge device, or CSD. It's a very simple device. It basically just takes a U-tube that looks like this. It's just 180-degree 2-inch PVC with a couple of 2-inch PVC extensions on it. This basically plugs down into the bottom receptacle in each of these sections. And what happens is the water fills up to a certain level. It blocks off the flow through this pipe here, and then triggers a siphon effect, which then drains the water through down into these green pipes here, which go into the refugium. Now, this action has no moving parts whatsoever, and it's proven to be extremely reliable. This tank that we're looking at here has actually been set up for 3 years, and I have done nothing since the original setup of it. I got the valves dialed in and just let it run. It doesn't require any priming. When I shut the system down for maintenance and turn it back on, I don't have to do anything in here to get it going again. Now, I've had some awful wear and tear. This entire seam right here split out and completely wrecked this compartment. But luckily, because of the way that the system is designed, I was able to shut down this individual section and just repair and keep this section dry during the repair while the rest of the Surger continued to flow. Similarly, this divider here between these two sections actually broke, and it's just flopping around in there. Oddly enough, it kind of continues to still work, and in a way it even adds to the variability of the two chambers, because that divider swings back and forth, changing the volume. So the idea here is just random, chaotic water flow. You might also notice when the chambers get to their max, some of them have little bubbles coming out. There's actually a very tiny hole drilled into the top of each of the U-tubes, and that hole allows the air to escape, and when that air escapes, it triggers the siphon much more quickly than without that hole. And the proper sizing of the hole really wasn't all that critical, but what I was going for there was big enough to let air out, but not so big that it would break the siphon prematurely. So it works out pretty well. The flow, once it goes out of this set of green pipes down here and flows into the fuge, there are a set of baffles that are set up inside of this fuge. So the water actually travels, and it's hard to see because of the coral and algae buildup now, but the water actually comes into a chamber that's right here. It travels down and back up and back down and then out. And the idea is that it smooths that flow out, because we're coming out from a 2-inch diameter. I wanted to kind of fill out this 3-foot wide tank so that the flow is nice and smooth and wide, and also give a chance for the bubbles to escape that are commonly generated by the Carlson surge device type things. And then, of course, these baffles are built to be removable. These entire sections actually lift out. They're on tracks, and they can be removed for maintenance and cleaning. In reality, though, I've never actually cleaned them, so it's been fine. Also interesting is the types of algae growth over the high flow baffles. There's this kind of red, I don't know how to describe it, algae that I've just never seen before, that thrives in this area here. And in this lower flow areas, then Chaetomorpha is the dominant algae, and is what I use for the main nutrient export for the tank. So the flow, as you can see, it's quite violent once it gets into this baffle area, but once it exits the baffle area, it's actually quite a very smooth flow. The flow continues through the refugium and then heads down towards this chute here. Now, the reason I did this is because this flow is just so gentle through the fuge. I felt like it lost a lot of the power that's created by these surge devices. So I wanted to get some of that energy back into the water. So it actually drops down a 16-inch long chute here, and then that goes into the main tank here, and is quite chaotic and quite violent, which I'll give you another video here in a minute of what it actually looks like from the tank side. But basically, this is the workings of the surge device. It's driven by a single hammerhead gold pump, which makes it really energy efficient. It's very chaotic and very random, and it's created a great environment for growing corals.